Hello, everyone. Welcome back to What Now, a podcast for the lost and found. I'm your host, Amanda. I'm so excited for you to be here. In episode 5, I interviewed my good friend Max Millay about his life experiences thus far and dealing with his drug and alcohol addictions, as well as his process through rehab and how he's been dealing with his recovery and his sobriety path. He is doing well now and hoping to pursue his career in music. During that interview, we also created our own vision boards. It was an idea I had based on my experiences with manifesting and manifestations and how those have occurred in my life. And I thought it would be a good exercise to get creative with Max and help him open up his stories and how he views his place in the world, and that way he could share his hopes and desires and intentions with the listeners, with you guys. Ideally, I wanted that to be inspirational not only for both of us during the interview, but for anybody that's listening who may resonate with his story. And earlier this week, while I was trying to edit these videos and the interview, turns out my audio gave out during this portion of the interview. So luckily, Max's discussion about his vision board was still intact. So I am re-recording our intro for now, and I will have to just kind of split this episode up into little bitty segments with transition music, because that's all your girl knows how to do right now. So congratulations to me for making my first audio mistake on this podcast, and I'm very impressed that it only took me until episode 6 to mess up. So yay for me. But without further ado, we will transition into Max's portion of the episode and have him discuss his vision board. I hope you enjoy.
And I'm just going to point out and talk about some things. So overall, it's pretty colorful and it's pretty beautiful to me, actually. I'm very proud of it. There's a lot going on. And we kind of have, I don't know, I really felt uncomfortable leaving white space. Imagine a white guy uncomfortable with white space. Not that common today, but that's this white guy at least. We have a lot of things besides humor going on, which I think are great. I have at the top here, literally Nashville multiplying, because that's the same skyline as this is. But in general, it's the idea of a skyline. Nashville is not only my home and what I consider to be my home, but it's always the place that I'm like comfortable coming back to, even when I do get comfortable enough to venture out and leave. So I have a little section that says see Max grow, be brave, find peace, make or break, build and maintain, love. And then right here at the bottom of this cliff, it says getting started. Yeah, right. And then kind of at the horizon, I wanted to put peace, because it's something I've always seen and had, but it is something that I had to find for sure. And I thought getting started, being at the bottom of this cliff, like it's all kind of sky in general as far as this picture that I chose to put on here, but really like the sky is lower down here, it's higher up here, the sky is everywhere, and I found that really symbolic. Even though this is people on a cliff looking out onto a beautiful space that actually happens to be Chattanooga, shout out Tennessee, it was very symbolic to me. I kind of surrounded this area with this animal print, I guess outline, if you will, or border. That is very symbolic of where I'm at in my life right now. I mentioned a lot in the last episode about my career and like what that has meant for me. And I'm actually very happily employed at a local restaurant in Hendersonville right now as a waiter. That is a line of work that I did not get into until I actually, after I got out of rehab the first time, which is wild and crazy. You would never think that, but it is called safaris, and there's a lot of animal print and things involved with it. So this animal print kind of reminds me, this is like the journey right here. Safari comes from the Arabic word safar, which means to journey. And so, of course, journeys are very important in my life, the good and the bad. So right below Nashville is my love to travel, which I think this is the only thing that we definitely both have on our boards somewhere, which is cool because Amanda was really prepared. And then I have a guy kind of in the middle here that represents me with a little tag below him that says health, beauty, and fitness. His shirt or uniform, if you will, there says grateful, but he is still wearing his mud mask and cucumbers from, the spa day that he's given himself, and that he needed. He needed it for sure. And I have a little blueprint looking picture of a house here that kind of just signifies that I want something more roots, but it's not really a picture of anything definite. It's just kind of an idea, which is mostly what I have. Right below that, it says, I do not follow the rules. And that past, future, and present is probably just the case. Right beside it, it says, my lows might feel lower, but it's special knowing I see beauty where others don't. And I don't know who said that because I can't remember where I got it from, but it was important to me because what it says to me is that I've been through things that others haven't seen, and they weren't necessarily great or high points, but there is beauty in the fact that I've seen them and that I've moved past them and I've grown from them. It says just below that, I was terrified about the future and had no one to talk to about it. And that's kind of the truth for me. I really had a fear of getting into recovery just because I didn't think that I could ever successfully get into it without anyone knowing about it. I didn't want it to be a public thing. It was a very private thing that I was going through. So that really kind of was a battle that I had to deal with. I also have a picture of a former Miss Universe. I'm not sure which one she is, but she looks stunning with her sash and crown there. And that's not to say that I want to be a Miss Universe, but I do want to achieve some type of iconic level of achievement of my efforts. And that's what I would say she has done by wearing this sash and crown. She's gotten to the top of the universe, as it says on her sash, but of what she's really put her efforts and her energy into. Live music, I want in my life, and I want to be coming out of my life a lot more. There is a wonderful picture of the Rivergate Skate Center down here, and that's very special to me. My sister got me my first pair of roller skates that I've ever owned about 2 or 3 years ago. I'm not sure. And I want to skate more. So I'm putting that in my future there. And then we have this side, which is separated by witnessing history and heart and serendipity here, because I think they kind of all work together. There's a lot of things in life that are, I think life is serendipitous. I think things are meant to be and just happen the way they should and the way that they need to. So I put that kind of right in the same area with this beautiful picture of, I'm not sure if that lady is thinking those things or what she's got going on, but it's a lady with some intricate cloud bear and a plane flying over her head. I'm not sure, but it's beautiful and it speaks to me. It says next to that, once you identify your triggers, you can build in self-care and boundaries. And that, I didn't say this to me before when I was giving myself advice, but reminding myself that I have boundaries and that even if it's hard, it's okay to put them in place. There are things that you find out, but the things that even though they're not comfortable, I need to do more of a better job of putting those boundaries in place. So I did that. And we have hope, love, and faith there. They're kind of turned, I thought, like a thermometer, because hope really kind of comes in the bottom. Love here is like eye level with this woman's sight, and then the faith is up in the clouds and in the sky. I hope to play more music. Like I mentioned before, I'm in a guitar class currently. And I do a lot of work with visual arts as well. And it says on that canvas, therapy. And it says right beside this artist, we have issues, which I found to be the most profound thing that I clipped out of a magazine today. Just below that, it says, retrograde doesn't have to be all doom and gloom, which I think it's really easy sometimes for us to say, Mercury's in retrograde, or is it? Because everything's going wrong and now I need to figure out if it is or whatever. But I did find that to speak to me, because even when you are in those moments that are not so easy, it doesn't have to just be the uneasiness. You have to find things that engage you and pull you out of it, whether that be art or music or conversations or rehab or whatever. And then just in the corner there, I have a little doggo with the little dog version of the Nashville wings behind him, because he's a little angel baby already. I do want to expand my family someday, and that is definitely going to include a four-legged friend. And and I'm lucky to be able to love her baby when she's not here and when she's here, of course. And then the back is pretty basic, if you will. Don't mind my husband. He's just sitting in our kitchen here on the counter with his big shoe. Things that are cooking up in the kitchen. It's a Nashville. It's upside down, which I put it upside down on purpose, just because I have a lot of things in and around Nashville that I have to kind of flip upside down with my moving forward process. Use Me for Good, which is a excellent lyric from a wonderful Jason Isbell song called Cover Me Up. Jason Isbell, he's right over here, and Amanda Shires, his beautiful wife. If a wonderful, loving, relationship within music happens for me, I would definitely not turn that down. So that's why I definitely included them on here. I've got Bob Dylan on here and T Swift, because they're definitely idols as well. There's a little thing that says tickets on sale now, because eventually I hope to be, like I said, promoting myself more, putting my stuff out there more, and if the public deems it necessary, selling tickets to my shows. We've got music literally coming out of the oven here, and what could be my beautiful kitchen one day. That is a lovely article from Cosmo with the beautiful Halle Bailey. She's kind of not in that picture, but a little out of focus there. But it says the sides you haven't seen. And that's really important for me. I want to promote the sides of me that people should know about that they don't. And if you don't know that I'm a musician, shame on me, because I should be showing that side to you. There's a cute little quote here from Bob Dylan that says, "Life isn't about finding yourself or finding anything. Life is about creating yourself." 100% speaks to me. And just a few things that I didn't put on there yet, but I did clip out. I've got some musicians that are just really important. Good Vibes, of course. Rock and Roll. Adventure Waits. I've got some venues and like places I'd like to sell my records, like Grimey's here in Nashville. I would love to maybe one day perform at the Ryman. I definitely want to continue going to see the Ryman. This one says supporting local, which I find very important. It doesn't have to be local. I'm fortunate to be local with Amanda now, but she's always been available to me, even when she hasn't been here with me, if that makes sense. And so supporting her podcast was definitely a no-brainer because I support her and I love her, to no end. And yeah, I have a little thing here that says volunteer. There are a lot of ways that you can use your time if you have it and you don't have anything to do with it. There's a lot of organizations in Nashville that can use your help. Oddly enough, I found myself volunteering with the homeless before I actually experienced homelessness. And there's wonderful organizations, one being Souls United, that puts a dinner or lunch out once a week at least, if not more. They do other things too, but in a kitchen outside of the Methodist church, or in the Methodist church in Nashville, that I've worked with. That is great. But there are ways to serve the homeless community, even if it's not that way. You'll find ways, definitely find ways that are comfortable. And that's why I think going through an organization is a lot easier. Me, myself, I've been homeless. I literally will take the sandwiches to the streets and give them out if I have them to give. And I'm comfortable with that. But I won't say everyone needs to do that, because it's not 100% safe all the time. You never know. But I put volunteering in my vision because I would like to do that more. Other than that, we got some scrubs here, some cowboy memorabilia, the Blue Room, which is, a great venue with Third Man Records, and a lot of ocean things. The ocean is just very symbolic to me in my journey. It's very healing to me. It's very much so a cycle and a process in and of itself. And so all of that is eventually going to be on here. I don't think it's going to be tonight, but that is essentially, in a nutshell, my vision. Yeah. Look, well, just you always follow me on Instagram, slide into my DMs, especially if you're a songwriter, or if you feel the need for a song and you can't write it yourself, get that song out, contact me, let's work on something, because that's really where my main focus is right now. But you can find me at Maxwell Millay on Instagram. And then, if you're connected to me in any way out there and you heard something that resonates with you, reach out to me, in whatever ways we're connected. Once you find me somewhere, you kind of got it all connected anyway, because it's linked. I'll give Amanda the organizations and places that I've spoken about and make sure those are highlighted. And keep listening to this podcast and supporting it, telling your friends about it, because we all go through what now moments. And I think it's, not just Trevor Noah's out there coming up with that at this time. And it's very important, I think, for, the world and where we're at.
Hi, everyone. So for my portion of the vision board, I wanted to manifest all kinds of things. Mainly, I focused on the growth that I wanted to have for myself, but also particularly with the podcast. So I shaped mine on two sides, just like Max did. And eventually I'll put this interview up on YouTube, and hopefully everyone there will be able to see the board. But I will also have these images of my poster and Max's vision board on Instagram as well. So you can always follow along at Podcast for the Lost on Instagram. Mine is a little bit goal oriented in a couple different ways. So on one side, I have my fitness inspiration, my podcast ideas, my food goals, my overall health, my intentions with love and romantic relationships, and trying to manifest a future where I'm financially stable. That's a really big deal to me. I understand that sometimes money's not everything, but it is stressful when you don't have it. So I would love to be in a place where I feel safe and secure. And not saying that I am now, but I don't think there's anything wrong with envisioning more for your life. So we'll get started and kind of go through things. On the top left corner here that I'm looking at, I have my fitness motivators and things that keep me grounded. So I have photos of a few of the Peloton instructors that I follow. I really like taking the bike boot camp classes. It keeps my fitness pretty easy. So I want to manifest that I'm actually going to keep up with that. I know it's hard when I'm traveling and I'm not in my routine. So it's been helpful to have the Peloton app and the Evolve U app as I, move around a lot. They're very flexible workouts and I can update my schedule anytime. So it's just nice. I also have, of course, photos of Chrissy Cella and Danielle Wilson in here. I talk about both of them a lot. Chrissy started the Evolve U app and Honor activewear clothing company. Both of them are based in the UK. Danielle Wilson is a trainer based in Chicago, but I found her on Instagram and she eventually became a trainer for Chrissy on the Evolve U app. So during COVID, they were a huge part of my life because I was doing at-home workouts in the middle of my living room and they kept me motivated, and I felt alone a lot of the time, and so it was just nice to kind of follow along with them online. I know it's pretty much a pseudo relationship. I admire both of these women very much. They're strong and powerful and, vulnerable and just true to who they are. And they are genuinely trying to carve a path in the world, both in their own ways, but trying to carve paths in the world that help women feel validated and safe and strong in the gym, but also in their everyday life. They go out of their way to make sure that you understand the lessons that you're learning during fitness can expand beyond the actual workout itself. So I admire them very much. Maybe one day I'll actually get them on the podcast. So fingers crossed. But in the meantime, Evolve U and Honor Active both have conferences every now and then. They'll do fitness events over like long weekends, and I've not been able to go before, but I would like to someday. I think it'd be a lot of fun and it'd be a great way to meet people, and it would just be an honor, to be able to spend time with all of these inspirational women that Chrissy brings around with her. Below all of my fitness women is a nod to my travel section. It's mostly just a bunch of stickers with suitcases and the globe, cars, bikes, trying to encourage you to get out, boats, maps, airplanes, anything to get you excited to get moving. I didn't get to travel a lot during COVID. I'm sure many of you did not as well. And I missed a lot of trips with my non-government friends because they were able to travel to other countries and do certain things that I wasn't allowed to do for a while. So I have missed out on a lot of girls' trips and friends' trips, and I would like to get back into that somehow. And inside of those stickers, I also have a couple of quotes that are just kind of random. One of them says, "I was just naked with a Gucci purse." There's a quote that just has the word tenacity in it. takes courage. And then there's a astrology paragraph. I don't really believe in astrology. Like, I understand that I'm a Capricorn based on the season and time period when I was born, but the effects of that time period on my life, I don't know if I necessarily believe it. But the Capricorn quote in here just seemed fitting for the purposes of a vision board. And it says, Libra season is giving you much grace and decorum, and all eyes are on you right now, especially at work. Any rare blunders will be on display, but not to worry, you're the most ambitious sign of all the zodiacs after all. And if you work hard right now, your performance will be rewarded. So, sounds like I just need to have the courage to go for whatever it is that I really want to work that hard for and not be afraid of messing up, because guess what? I already did. So that's okay. In the middle of the poster board, I have all of the dreams for the podcast. So I have pictures of my show, but then also right under that, I have a photo of Trevor Noah, because over the last couple of days, Trevor Noah launched his podcast, which is also called What Now? But I believe his is just What Now with Trevor Noah. And the intention behind his podcast is to interview celebrities and have difficult conversations with them. I don't really know what that means exactly, but his first episode was with one of my hall passes, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. So I put it on there just because if I've learned anything in my marketing job, you have to care about SEO in terms of improving your organic growth or your paid search capabilities. And if somebody's going to search Trevor Noah's name on podcasts right now, I'm very grateful that he copied my title, because now my show will pop up when his pops up. So maybe I can piggyback a little bit off of his paid search. But either way, congratulations to Trevor. Maybe one day I can have Trevor on the show as well. It'd be kind of fun to cross episodes together. But there's a quote I also added here that says, sharing tips and advice has been transformative. There's a couple of questions from the magazines that we clipped out. You know, what was your biggest mistake when starting out? What lesson did you wish you had known? Which one was your greatest lesson? Best business advice you were ever given? So I just kind of jotted those down and added those to the poster too, because I felt like they were symbolic of my intention to interview potential guests. And those are also a lot of questions that I want to ask my guests as well, because, you know, those are all questions that sound like what now moments. The answers become a what now moment, at least. I've also got a sign that says top 100 on here. It'd be great if I could get the show into the top 100 someday. It'd be a lot of fun to be able to see my name up there. It'd be very surreal. Well, I added the logos for Dear Media and Betches, which are both podcast production companies. They do a lot of things. They host a lot of these shows that I listen to now, or at least people that I admire. Like Heather McMahon is over with Dear Media, and Jared Freed's shows are all with Betches. So at least the comedians that I follow are over there. I did not put an image for Girls Gotta Eat on here, but I do also admire those women as well and would love to have them on the show someday. So I will just have to do a oral manifestation of that one. So knock on wood, Girls Gotta Eat will happen. It's okay, baby. Yeah, sorry, I confused Dirks there when I did that. My bad, dude. Dear Media also has a conference that they host every year where they bring on various of their podcasts hosts to panels and have a forum, and the general public can also purchase tickets to go and participate at the conference and talk to these people and hear about their experiences and starting out with small businesses and what to do and lessons learned. So it would be really cool. So I put Dear Media IRL, which is their conference name, on here as well. So maybe one day, if I don't get picked up by Dear Media, I would like to at least go to their conference and kind of see what that's like and try and experience that for myself. I think it would be really cool. And in the very middle is a photo of a woman who was dealing with negative thoughts, or at least it was an ad for anxiety and depression and negative intrusive thoughts. And so she's stressed and she's got her hands in front of her face, and below her hands I cut out a different quote that said, "Am I a highly sensitive person or just an emotional wreck?" And Max told me that he thought that that's the $1 million question, right? Like whenever you're starting to freak out, you kind of internally ask yourself, like, is this really a problem or am I okay? Kind of a thing. And I do identify as a highly sensitive person, not to the point that I'm explosive or anything, or I'm on the verge of either blowing my lid or breaking down and crying at any moment. It's not like that, but I do believe I have a pretty high emotional intelligence, and I'm an empath. So I do believe that I absorb other people's emotions, or at least I'm aware of the emotions typically going on around me, can read body language relatively quickly, or at least can sense when things shift emotionally. I may not know why or what it was, but I can sense it, and that can be very overwhelming sometimes. And I pride myself on keeping myself together emotionally, and that's not always a good thing because I think I bury things down because I just don't want to show other people how I'm really feeling sometimes. I don't want people to know that I'm struggling, or that I'm thinking about making different decisions, or that I might be doubting myself, because you're not supposed to show that you're doubting yourself. You're not supposed to, in today's day and age, you're supposed to stay positive all the time, every day. And that's just really, really hard. Especially when I also hate being known as the girl that cries. And like when I was little, I would cry a lot. And my family would tease me because it would just be so easy to push Amanda's buttons, little Amanda's buttons. I would like to think that I've gotten a lot better at that I can take a joke much better now. But I am still a very sensitive person. So I don't know why, but that sentence just really stuck out to me. So I put it on there. I don't necessarily know if I'm trying to manifest becoming an emotional wreck, because I really don't want that. But I guess I want to manifest reconciling with the fact that I am who I am. You know, I should love myself for my ability to have emotional intelligence, and I shouldn't feel bad for having that skill, because I am able to express myself, but I can do it without harming other people around me when I do it. But on the opposite end of that, if there's somebody else that's witnessing that happen and they are emotionally uncomfortable or do not have the same level of emotional intelligence and they don't know how to process that, I have had people project onto me that they didn't like that, or they didn't know what to do with me when I was expressing an emotion, because it made them uncomfortable and they didn't want to deal with the fact that they had possibly been involved in hurting me. So it just was always easier to be like, oh, well, I didn't want to talk to you because I thought you would cry about it. And it's like, well, yeah, I probably would, because you hurt my feelings. And I grew up hating myself because of that. I grew up hating myself because of that. I hated that I would be so emotional about certain things. It would make me feel so passionate or upset. And so I would do everything in my power to control the reaction, to be neutral. But being neutral is exactly as it says. It's neutral. So you don't get to fix the problem when you're staying neutral. Nobody knows how you really feel. Nobody knows what exactly did you want if you stay neutral, right? So I have to find a way to manifest being okay with the fact that I am who I am, and other people's projections onto me are not necessarily facts, right? Or what other people perceive about me or think about me is none of my business. And even if they say something hurtful, I can still be confident in who I am and what I offer and what I bring to the table. So, wow. Dang it. I did not think I would get that deep on just that one sentence, but I did. So, here we go. The next section I want to talk about is the health and fitness and love. Not fitness, I guess, the health section. I have just a bunch of photos of food up here. I don't think it really represents anything other than I need to manifest continuing to eat well, but also have a balance. So there's a photo of chicken and waffles, avocado toast, homemade pad thai, and like a crudité plate of vegetables. I think I eat a wide variety of things, and I'm a pretty adventurous person, but I also need the reminder that my fitness plan is just a plan. You know, the goal is to have a healthy lifestyle, and that does require balance and being respectful to your body and fueling your body the right way. So taking the supplements that you need, eating enough actually is important as well. But that's why the food is on there, just because food's delicious and I enjoy eating it, and I only get one life, and so do you. So hopefully, you know, excluding health issues and concerns and necessary diets, I hope that you find ways to enjoy your food as well. So I have that on there. In the love section, I just put photos of my kind of like the celebrity crushes, essentially. I don't really have a particular person that I am looking for, but if I could manifest the qualities that I like in these particular people, that would be nice. You know, it doesn't have to literally end up manifesting one of these people, because as far as I know, one of them's married. So that won't work out. But I have photos of Kip Moore, who's a alternative country folk rock-ish musician from Georgia. I think he's on tour right now with his band. I've seen him a couple of different times when I was living in DC and once here in Nashville. I think he's really good. I've been a huge fan of his since like 2009. So he's had a pretty awesome career and has a pretty interesting upbringing story as a songwriter and now as a famous musician and singer or lead singer for his band. And then, of course, there's always photos of The Rock on here. He's been my classic hall pass for forever. Probably since my brother and I used to watch that movie, The Scorpion King. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that one or not, but it's one of the only ones where he's had hair in the movie. But yeah, I admire him a lot because he grew up from nothing and found a way to become an international phenomenon, multi-millionaire business leader, director, actor, producer, and athlete, right? So he's had a pretty incredible story, and I admire him as a father, a husband, a son. The work that he does with his philanthropies and the amount of money he gives away, and how he helps out veterans and goes abroad to visit soldiers and does tours with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. It's just really, really admirable that he remembers exactly his place, right? That I'm here because I was able to cultivate a community that supported me. and helped me, and through that I could activate all of my businesses and my dreams. And plus he also loves tequila. So tall, dark, and handsome and drinks tequila, and I'm into that. But yeah. So those two guys. And then of course, as you may have picked up from listening to my other podcasts and social media stuff, I kind of have a crush on Tyler Cameron now. I think he's very handsome. I've been listening to other interviews in different podcast shows, trying to do research for my own podcast, and I've come across him several times. So he's been going around and doing lots of different interviews and meeting people, and I've heard a lot more about his origin story and his post-bachelorette, Bachelor Nation story, and all the work that he's been doing for his philanthropies that he started after his mother, and the businesses that he started on his own. He went back to his roots with construction and now owns some restaurants and franchises, and he wants to expand that. And I just think it's really cool, that this person that you think he's just some Hollywood pretty boy, but turns out he's actually got a whole lot more layer and depth and just a stand-up guy. And I think that that's really nice. And to have somebody that cares about their fitness and cares about their family and doesn't really care so much about the fame, but cares more about giving back to the community because of his opportunities. I think that's good, to have somebody I would like to date someone that is self-aware and ambitious like that. If there's a way to have balance between the two, would be great. But that's hard to find sometimes, But I have a quote that's in here that says, just sit with yourself and be honest about what you want. And I think that's huge for this vision board. So this episode is definitely about pretty honest so far. But you never know. Maybe someday I'll get to interview these men. Maybe one day I'll get to meet them. And who knows? Maybe one day Tyler might send me a DM. A girl can dream. But all right. So the other half of my manifestations here, we're moving on to just personal things that I love. Not so much my intended future, but I've got a lot of photos of elephants on here. I've got photos of various cities and landmarks that I'd like to visit. I really want to travel more. These have a bunch of just phrases in them. Travel is good for the soul, the next chapter, resilience, elevated getaway, living in the moment, loving where you are. There's a lot of Italy stuff. Italy and Greece are right on the top choices for me. I've never been, but I would really, really like to go someday. There's a couple photos of like a dream house. So I put photos of fitness equipment in there. I'd love to have a home gym someday. I'd love to have, I really like the black and white aesthetics with accent colors, kind of like a light wood or a sage. I'm more of a mid-century modern-ish style, but classy. I don't know. I don't know that much about interior design, but maybe one day when I have enough money, I will have a bathroom that's big enough to not also have to be my laundry room, and I'll have a kitchen that's got a high enough ceiling that like I can walk through it without worrying about storage, or I'll have a kitchen island large enough for me to cook on one section instead of having to spread it around to all the sections. So those are just silly dreams in there. I've got some photos of I'm not really super materialistic, but I've got photos of like red lipstick on here, a couple of skincare things that I really care about. I try my best to take care of my skin. I wear a lot of sunscreen, so I put some photos on there of like brands that I love. Maybe I could potentially have them as a commercial or something on the episode. Supplements that I care about, like from 22 Nutrition, Tula. As far as the red lipstick goes, I think it's like a photo of a Dior lipstick, something on there. Just in general, I'm a huge fan of red lipstick. Obviously, I know Taylor Swift does that, but I looked up her brand too, and her brand is sold out right now. I've been on the wait list for like months. So I haven't gotten it yet. So maybe that's actually the manifestation I want. I want her company to, or the brand that makes her color, to come out with her color again. So that way I can buy one. I think it looks beautiful. I really like it. But yeah. And then on the bottom of this section, I have a photo of a girl in a kayak. I really love outdoor sports. I played soccer when I was growing up, and we would always visit the beach when I was growing up for our family trips, and we would kayak and rent jet skis and paddle boards and stuff and hang out, and I loved that, and I would really like to get back to that someday. When I left college, I did not have storage for anything like that, so I never bought a kayak for myself, and I'd really like to do that someday and go back to the beach and paddle around. I think it'd be a lot of fun. I also have a photo of just the words "The Dancer." I did dance for a really long time growing up. I can't remember the exact age range, but maybe somewhere around like 3 or 4 up to around 10 or 11. And then I quit because I wanted to try other sports and other things, and I couldn't do all of it. And I do love dancing. Anybody that knows me knows that I will just make up my moves whenever I want. I will make up songs whenever I want. And it might be awkward and weird because it's typically never at the right place or the right time, but I do it anyway. And that's how you know I must really like you if I'm actually showing you my full weird side and not trying to hide it anymore. But the point of the dancer, for the purposes of the vision board here, is I would like to get back into that somehow. I know Nashville has some adult programs for non-professionals that I could sign up for. So maybe in 2024, I try and take some ballet classes again. I think that would be really good. But I haven't in a very long time. But my mom can attest to it. I was very good, and it made her very sad that I quit. It was the only extracurricular activity that she regrets not making me keep. So, lesson learned, yeah. But that's pretty much it here. I am so glad all of you are here to listen, and I appreciate all of your support. Manifesting and building a vision board was a lot more fun than I thought it would be. I wasn't even sure I'd find enough photos to fill out the poster, and turns out I found so much that I had to go on both sides. But I think that's kind of the point, right? You're not supposed to think, you're just supposed to do. For this, you're supposed to close your eyes and imagine what that dream looks like, and it kind of just looks like a rainbow and Alice in Wonderland threw up on my if Alice in Wonderland loved rainbows and fitness, she kind of threw up all over my vision board. But those are mainly the things that I have here in my life that I'm thinking about. Dream house, dream financial stability, dream health and fitness, dream partner, dreams for the What Now podcast, and hopefully getting to a place where I'm feeling a little less lost and closer to being found. So, thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Remember to like, subscribe. I wish I could figure out how to say that correctly. Like, subscribe, leave a review. As always, you can email me at askwhatnowpodcast@gmail.com. If you are listening on Spotify, you can leave me a voicemail message on those episodes. I will check in and see if we have any new ones, and then we can hopefully collect a few and then play them on a future episode someday, and that way I can respond to you guys. I really appreciate all the love and support and feedback you have offered me so far. If there's a topic that you think would be good for the show, or you have suggestions of someone you think would be a great guest, please feel free to DM me or send me an email with your thoughts. And definitely check out the description boxes for this episode and episode 5 if you are looking for rehab resources from Max. I also put his contact info for his Instagram on there as well. So if you would like to talk to him, I know he is open to helping anyone and everyone who is looking for a new start, or a friend, or a familiar face, at least somebody that they can talk to about any of those questions or problems or similar life experiences. But that's all for now, and I love you, mean it, and remember, wanderers are always welcome.